Hello everyone, this is Fabio Carvalho and you're watching now Adisra SmartView course. Today's topic is ComboBox. Our goal for today is to check the ComboBox properties and add a string dynamic tag to it. This dynamic tag will be populated with the recipe names that are being created in the recipes screen. First, let's create the dynamic tag in our factory globals document. I'm gonna open it here. Let's give a name to it, recipe names. It's gonna be type string, it's gonna be also one dimension, and it's gonna be dynamic. So we're done for now. I'm gonna close it and let's open the recipes. This is the combo box that we'll be using and talking about. So first, what pop-ups to our eyes, the first configuration is the items, and here we can add predefined values. So I'm gonna be able to add just a string or maybe multiple of them, and we're gonna have a bunch of items in the combo box. Or we can add also arrays or just tags. So it could be a simple array of size 10, but it can also be a dynamic array. And we're gonna use our recipe names array that we created, and we're going to be using it to populate the combo box. The next configuration is the font configuration. We can change their alignments inside the combo box. We can change the font family or maybe the size, and we can add bold or italic to the fonts. And the next ones are more important, and we're going to be using the first one. Let's talk about them. We have a selected index and selected text. These two fields here, they can take a tag. So if we add a numeric tag on the selected index, whenever we change the selection of the combo box, we're actually changing the index. So the index is going to be copied to this tag here. And this is going to be important if you want to know exactly what item inside of your dynamic array or just a simple array is selected, and you can get from a tag here. And you also have the option to get the text of the combo box, and this would be a string tag. So let's add one for the selected index, and we're gonna be using this later. So I'm gonna create one called configuration recipe selected index. It's not created yet, so I'm gonna create it. It's gonna be also inside the factory globals, and it's gonna be type integer. It's not an array. Okay, it's already created, and we can go to the next one, which is the input enabled. If we set it to true, it means that we're gonna be able to type inside the combo box. You probably have seen before combo box where you can search for one item. So whenever you put this as enabled, it means you're going to be able to type and maybe search inside of the combo box a specific value, so you don't need to scroll and search for it. Since in our application the combo box is not going to contain too many recipes, I'm not going to enable this one. We can also change the corner radius of the combo box. We can change the angle, the tooltip, we can make it enabled or not, visible or not, and we can change the brushes. We have the scripts, the hotkeys, and we can also change the security as all of the objects. If you notice, there's something new in the combo box scripts. There's a new event called selection changed. I could add the logic to load our recipes in this screen, and I believe it is the best place to do it actually, but I will leave it to be done in the triggers, since I'll be doing the next video with triggers. Now let's move to the save button, and here is where we want to add a new item to the dynamic array, and then we're gonna see in runtime the combo box being populated as soon as we add a new item. So let's select here. I'm gonna split the screen. So far we are only saving the recipes, but I also want to add to the tag. So let's start writing it down. I'm gonna just put a comment adding a new tag to the dynamic array called recipe names, right? I'm gonna create a variable here just to check if it exists or not. If it doesn't exist, I want to add to the array. If it already exists, I'm not gonna do anything because it's just an update. So bool exists, start with false. Now I can add a loop here, int index starts from 0 and index less than, we're gonna check the size of the array, dot dynamic length. We need to pass the name of the tag, recipe names, and we'll just increment the index. Now let's check if it exists or not. So if recipe names on the index equals the recipe name that we just typed on the text box. If so, we set exists equals true, and we can leave the loop with a break. If it doesn't exist, then we're gonna add a new tag, and we have a few options to add tags, and we can use the SVTags. And one of the options is to add a dictionary to the tag, and basically this dictionary is going to contain some properties that I want to already specify before adding this to the array. And we can use two properties already being populated, like the value and also retentive value, because we can this way keep the values even when we shut down the application and open it again. I don't want to load it every time I open the screen, so this can be kept on the SmartView, and we're going to be making use of this property. So we're going to be using SVTags.add dynamic tag. First parameter is the name of the tag of our array, recipe names, comma, and now we need to pass this dictionary that I mentioned. So I'm just gonna put in the first line here, dictionary of string, which is the name of the property, and object, since it can be any value. It could be a string, it could be an integer, so it's gonna be an object. I'm gonna call them properties equals new. I'm gonna instantiate this dictionary now, dictionary of string again, comma, object as a constructor, and now properties dot add. Let's add now the first property that I want to use, which is value. So the value is gonna be the configuration recipe dot recipe name. Remember, it's a string where we're gonna keep the name of the recipe. And the second property is retentive value. If you're not sure about what properties are available, you can always put any tag here, probably the same type as we're using. So I'm gonna put, let's put configuration recipe dot recipe name, and if you put a dot here, we're gonna see the available properties we can use and the exact name. So this one that is interesting, the retentive value, so I'm gonna copy from here. I can delete this row now, and we're gonna add the properties dot add, and the property name we got from the in the license, retentive value, comma, true. This is a boolean one. Okay, so we have our properties dictionary, and we can pass as the second parameter here, and we're done. I'm gonna save it, and we can run the application and just make a test. Okay, the application is running. Let's go to the recipes. Just let's check here, the combo box is still empty. We don't have yet any values on our array, and we can add a new one. I'm gonna call it Pilsen. Just gonna give some values here. ready to save it. And you can see that our combo box already contains a Pilsen. So our test worked. You can see that we can add dynamic values on the runtime. So it was a good point to show you. And you can see different ways to configure the combo box. As we said, we can use predefined values, we can use a simple array or just a dynamic tag. And it's really simple to configure and to use them. I hope I was able to show you the potential of the combo box, and this demo was useful for you. And thank you a lot for watching this video. Okay, bye bye.